the Lone Ranger. A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger.
There we are. Are you all comfy now? I'll go warm you some milk.
Granny, I've got some wonderful news for you. Look, Granny, I found it at last. The Barcelona treasure. Isn't it wonderful? After all the years, folks been looking. But I almost didn't live to tell about it. If these two men hadn't happened along. Don't be frightened by the mask, Granny. He's no outlaw. He and the Indian just saved my life. Say, I've forgotten to introduce you. This is my grandmother, and this is Granny's nurse, Miss Watson.
Nice to know you, Miss Watson. You too, Mrs. Ritchie. How does it feel to have a grandson who just found $1 million?
Oh, she can't answer you. She's quite old and just had a stroke a short while ago. Can't hardly move a muscle since.
I'm sorry.
I don't think she'd want you to feel sorry for her. Look at her eyes. I've never seen her look sorry for herself.
Eyes plenty bright. You think she'd hear us when we talk?
I'm almost sure she does. She can't answer back, but, well, it's just a feeling I have. Anyway, I always talk to her as if she could hear me.
Cleve?
What about your grandmother, Cleve? Do you think she heard or saw what happened?
I'm sure she did.
Why do you say that?
By the look in her eyes, Doc. You should have seen them. They were full of fear and anger and sort of desperation, like she wanted to tell me something.
What a shame. The one person in the world who might be able to help us, and she can't say or write a word.
Yeah. If she could only talk.
There may be a way she can talk.
Are you crazy, mister? Mrs. Ritchie's totally paralyzed. She can't utter a sound.
I once knew a man that was paralyzed just like your grandmother, Cleve. He, too, couldn't say or write a word. But after a while, his family figured out a way that he could answer any questions they asked him. He could communicate with those around him.
But how?
Yes, I'm fascinated to know how anybody who can't move or speak can still find a way to answer questions.
I'll explain to you later, Doctor. Cleve, do you mind if I try and talk to your grandmother?
Of course not, if it'll do any good.
I wish you wouldn't do this. Mrs. Ritchie's a very old woman and not too strong. Perhaps I'd better go in with you.
No, thank you, Doctor. Too many people might make it more difficult for her. You needn't worry. I won't stay long.
Sure, let him try it, Doc. We've got to catch Stella's killer somehow.
Mrs. Ritchie, Cleve thinks you may know something about Miss Watson's murder. I know you can't tell me what happened in words, but there may be another way for you to talk about it. I notice you're able to blink your eyes. That means you still do have a voice, a silent voice. I'm going to ask you some questions. You blink once if the answer is yes, twice if it's no. Do you understand me? Good. Now tell me, do you have any idea who killed Miss Watson? Was it one person? Was it two persons? Did you hear their names? You're doing fine, Mrs. Ritchie. Now we're going to find out who they are. I'm going to recite the alphabet. You blink once when I come to the first letter of either of their names. Do you understand?
I can't seem to duplicate that map. We've got to get the other one back.
I wish that masked friend of yours would hurry up. He's spending too much time in there.
If him find out who killer is, time well spent.
That's a mighty big if, Indian. Personally, I haven't much hope that a woman who can't make a sound is suddenly going to blab her head off.
You're wrong, Doctor.
What do you mean?
Granny was able to give me a great deal of information.
Are you on the level, mister?
Do you know two men by the name of Bert and Chad?
No, I can't say that I do.
One was chunky and broad. The other quite tall.
That sounds like the two men who jumped me this morning.
What about these two men?
One of them killed Miss Watson.
But that's absurd. Are you trying to say that Granny Ritchie told you the names of these men?
That's right.
I don't like to call you a liar, mister, but what you're claiming's impossible. She couldn't do that unless she wrote or spoke, and I know that she can't do either.
You underestimate Granny, Doctor. There are other ways to communicate information.
What else did she tell you?
Not much, Cleve. They killed Miss Watson, took the map, then left.
But how are them up and safe?
Miss Watson did it. She was working with them.
That's not true.
Of course it isn't. I personally recommended Stella for this job, and I know that she's above reproach.
I don't think Granny was lying to me, Doctor.
How could she be lying when she can't even talk? It's too fantastic. In what conceivable way could she tell you the names of these two men?
Not two. Three.
You mean there was a third man with them?
Not with them, Cleve. But apparently the mastermind behind the whole scheme. Granny heard them talking about him.
Come in.
Hello, Doctor. I have one of your patients outside.
Oh, well, bring him in. Granny Ritchie.
What's the matter, Doctor? Didn't you ever expect to see her again?
But what do you mean?
Your two stooges messed the job up badly. What's more, they've done a lot of talking. Enough to send you to jail for life.
I'm afraid you don't have much of a case there, mister. Both those men have long criminal records. They're notorious liars. I'll deny everything they say. And I don't think a jury will take their word against mine.
Possibly not. But I think a jury will take Granny Ritchie's word against yours. That's why I brought her here to see you.
We're back to that nonsense again. She's going to talk.
Not talk. Communicate.
Oh, yes, like that fellow you were talking about. Tell me, how'd he do it?
Quite simple. When questions were asked him, he blinked his eyes. Once for yes and twice for no. Watch Granny's eyes, Doctor. Granny, did you see Bert and Chad kill Miss Watson? Did you hear them say the doctor was their ringleader? Are you afraid to testify against him in court? Well, I think that covers it. Well, Cleve, the town will get us treasure now.
Yes, thanks to you two. You sure you can't stay and share it with us?
We have other work to do, not need treasure.
Good luck, Cleve. Bye, Granny.
Oh, wait a minute. I just wanted to tell you that I'm mighty grateful for what you did for Granny. It's good to be able to talk to her again. Know that she hears me. Well, Granny, there they go. I sure wish they could stick around. What is it, Granny? Is there something you want to ask me? About the masked man? What is it you want to know? Who he is? Why, Granny, he's the man who always helps folks when they need it most. He's the Lone Ranger.